Each frame has a different form, which means there are no standardized elbow fittings. I therefore designed some end caps and 3D printed them.
Hiedalle.
Today's mission: Bye Zigzag. The current plant channels need to be removed from the wall to make room for the newly designed plant channels used for this season. Tip: 2 screws per channel. Okay, let's see. Last time Konrad fed the worms in the worm bin drawers of the aquaponic composter module. The worm food were dried leaves and runners from last season's tomato and cucumber plants. Today we will work on the plant channels, which are hanging vertically on the wall and make up one of the main growing areas of the farm. It will be quite easy to remove the channels since the water is already turned off and each channel is fixed with just 2 screws to the wall. So an electric screwdriver will work fine. Let's go! The lower channels will be easy to reach by climbing on top of the IBC tanks. For the channels further up I will need a ladder later. The channels are made from window frames we had left over when we used the glass of the windows for our office cube. The material of these frames is UV resistant, white and quite sturdy, which was the reason I decided to use it for the aquaponics system. The material can easily be cut and it helps that it has straight edges. Also the holes for the net pots could easily be drilled with a Forstner bit. It created a bit of a mess with all the plastic debris, but it was easy to collect and put in the trash. Most of the frames were a bit longer than 2 meters, so I cut them to length. Each frame has a different form, which means there are no standardized elbow fittings or the likes available to connect one channel to the other. I therefore designed some end caps and 3D printed them from different colored PLA, but even though this looked quite nice, the material started to leak after a while, mostly due to the layers of the prints letting water transpire through. So I switched the 3D printed parts to PET bottles with a cutout for this specific channel. The bottles acted as a funnel to guide the water from the upper channel into a lower channel. This worked for the last 2-ish years, but there were small leaks here and there. They did not really matter because the water was caught in the lower channels, but I want the system to be lower maintenance in the future and leak-proof. Therefore I will use proper piping, which can be maintained by interchangeable standardized parts. The window frames were an experiment and worked alright, but if I use them again I would do so in an outdoor setup. I can also think of an usage by hanging the channels vertically, so there are no end caps needed at all. I was also thinking about grinding the channels and extruding new channels out of the material, and I will keep this in mind. I have some design ideas which might work even better than pipes, but here in Germany there is also recycling for old window frames, since the material can be used for new window frames. One big disadvantage for the usage of window frames as planting channels was when the pump was switched off, the plants growing in the channel did not get any water and dried off. There was only a little amount of water, and due to the slope of the channels, which also created the zigzag pattern, the water was gone almost immediately after the pump was switched off. The dried plants you can see here are mostly spearmint, which basically exploded here. I had so much mint I did not really know what to do with it, and I could store these dried plants for tea, but I already have some jars filled, so I have plenty, and these will go back into the composter module for the worms to feed on and creating new material and nutrients for this season's plants. It's worth mentioning the root mass of the spearmint, which is impressive. It has the form of the interior of a channel and almost filled out the window frame completely. Luckily it did not clog it though, and the roots will go into the composter as well. All the window frame channels are removed now and the wall is empty and clean for now. So it's possible to work on the new setup. But this concludes today's mission. Subscribe for the next episode and leave some feedback in the comments below. You could also check out this video.
Or if it's your birthday, maybe this one.
Hiedalle.